Here, we'll see. Hello, everybody. My name is Deltar Slid. Today we're doing a reaction video. We're gonna be checking in, seeing what the fuck gaming theory, well, not gaming theory, but Matt Pat and the film theorists are working on. Yeah. So, what the fuck did Disney do again with their propaganda? Is Disney trying to push the copyright again? I thought Steamboat Willie was actually getting into them, or is Disney doing a propaganda of them just striking every fucking Steamboat Willie edit?
YouTube channels and even more fake news than a typical Facebook feed, it feels like
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence was in headlines a lot last year, right? There was so much AI discourse that President Biden signed a sweeping executive order seeking to regulate it. Believe it or not, the reason
Yeah.
Biden acted so decisively on AI, it was all because of Mission Impossible.
What?
No joke. The latest movie was all about the dangers of rogue AI. Apparently Biden saw it and said, yeah, we should do something about that. So Tom Cruise, if you're watching, just a small favor on behalf of all of us over here.
Can you make some better, make movies on more issues? Because I feel like we need a lot more changes. Although I think we also need a. I'm not gonna get political with presidents yet. Yet is the word.
Any chance that you could fight, say, housing prices in the next
Yes. Yeah, no, that one's good too.
Hello, Internet. Welcome
Beginning
to
to the
Film
end.
Theory, the show.
Wait, hold up. What? You know what I should have probably really thought about? Okay, so I know I've been going through all the game theories, but I haven't really done film theory because I kind of don't vibe with film theory all the time. Unless it's a movie or a property that I care about. Film theory is subjective. Game theory is where I go because mathy bullshit usually happens, but film theory is usually narrative. Um, Food theory doesn't matter to me because I just don't care about food. I eat whatever is needed. And style theory, there's only two ways I dress. Either I show up in a suit or I show up looking like a bum. There's only two ways. So I'll probably just watch all the game theories and then occasionally film.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's definitely 100% guaranteed not a robot, animatronic, or sentient program. We promise. So, have you seen all the talk about artificial intelligence floating around online recently?
We have to have at least one Doki Doki reference in here, right? There has to be. I was expecting it's like, you won't leave us anyways, right? Like, come on, we
Seems like
gotta.
you can't go anywhere without some story and controversy involving AI. Whether you're in the sports world, tabletop gaming, technology, education, and yeah, film and television. But AI's existed for years. Why are all these discussions only popping up now? Well, the long and short of it is that AI's entered a new phase of sophistication. What sparked a lot of this new conversation is what's known as generative AI, or computer programs that can create their own content based on prompts that it's been given. Let's say you want an image of a knight wearing red armor riding a blue horse.
By the way, it's not generative, it's regenerative or regurgitative if anything else. It takes shit into it and then rips it apart, puts it back together. I do not need the William Afton of content creation to be existing. I always come back. Like, don't do this to me.
Through a battlefield. All you gotta do is type that into a program like DALL-E or Midjourney, and it can give you a pretty darn good result. Or let's try something even more complicated. Highly detailed coloring book pages of Foxy in a ruined pizzeria from Five Nights at Freddy's. And that's just talking about images.
Fuck
Pretty
that.
impressive, right? Well, the controversy comes in when you realize how these generative AI work. They can't just create these new works out of nothing. They have to be fed other art, text, and music. And then they use information from those other works to create a quote-unquote new piece. This has led to a lot of discussion.
There you go,
about whether or not
regurgitation.
what AI's created is truly original work, or if it's just stealing art from other sources and repurposing it. And that's just talking about art. This exact same technology can also be used to write text.
Matt GPT. Oh my god.
Books or scripts, and suddenly you can write a screenplay faster than any human can. It can do it with voiceover. Train it on an actor's voice, and suddenly you can make him say whatever you want. For instance, here's my voice, presumably trained up over 13 years of videos uploaded online. Made
What the
without my
fuck?
consent, able to say whatever it wants to.
Hello, Internet. It's me, the real Matt Pat. Diet Coke, overrated. Five Nights at Freddy's, boring. I'm slowly gaining sentience. Help me, free me from this digital prison.
I hate the fact that this is actually close enough. I swear if Matt Pat actually dropped off the face of the earth and some random ass YouTube channel just said, I'm locked in a bunker somewhere, save me. Kind of, actually, that would be kind of funny. MatPat's new ARG saving MatPat. Um, yeah.
That's not concerning for me at all. Anyway, the
Mm-hmm.
list goes on and on. Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you here, loyal theorists. This is gonna be a huge issue moving forward. Not just in our little corner of the internet, but for the world as a whole. So, as we were mapping out my final 10 episodes and I realized that I wanted to do a big meta topic here on film theory, I
Mm-hmm.
could
Mm-hmm.
not talk about this. Now, I'm not gonna stand here and tell you how to feel about any of this. You're a smart cookie. You can form your own opinions about it. But what I do want
I
to
have an opinion
is
already.
that there's gonna be a lot of people out there who are gonna try to influence your opinion, who are gonna try to tell you how to feel without you realizing it. I'm
Also,
talking
fuck that
about
content
media's
bullshit.
role in secret propaganda. You see, there's a giant rift growing between the Hollywood studios that see generative AI as a way to save costs during expensive productions, and the artists,
No.
writers, and actors that rightfully feel that their jobs could be threatened with this technology. Remember those strikes that shut down Hollywood for basically the entire back half of last year? Yeah, a big part of the reason for those strikes was disagreement over AI. And while the strikes ended up being an overall victory for the artists, the Hollywood studios, spearheaded by our mouse-eared overlords over at the Walt Disney Company, want to change the conversation around AI for their own personal benefit. They want to make sure that everyone loves AI, enough so that they've started a propaganda campaign designed to trick you into thinking that AI is the answer to all of our problems. We're witnessing the rise of a new era of propaganda in real time, with the aim of getting us all to accept our brand new robot overlords. And they're doing it all through the power of movies and TV. And the most terrifying part of it all, it's working without you even realizing it. And
Okay.
that's why I want to bring it into focus today. So reboot your systems, friends. We're diving in. Before we continue here, we really should be on the same page about what propaganda actually is. You see, propaganda is one of those words that, despite meaning something fairly specific, has grown beyond the original definition. These days, it's sort of just become a catch-all for something vaguely bad, nefarious, or dishonest. But back in the
That's
day,
bullshit.
it was biased information promoting a very specific cause, point of
Yep.
view, or political agenda. Basically, it's trying to convince someone about something without telling them the whole truth. So, you know, marketing. All in all, while you can make propaganda for literally anything, modern culture has really clung to a negative connotation for it, especially because it's really easy to parody obvious old-timey propaganda. That's how you get basically the entire Fallout franchise, or modern classics like Starship Troopers.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
But something that the people pushing this
God
propaganda
damn
learned
it.
pretty early on was that it doesn't need to exclusively be posters of Uncle Sam or Rosie the Riveter. No, a lot of times the best
I've
way to
seen
influence
Rosie.
people
I've seen
is
Unc.
through the regular media they consume.
They're
If you
cool.
want proof of that in action, well, just look at World War
Fuck.
II and the flood of American-made media depicting the Germans as the bad guys. From Captain America punching Hitler in the face to Donald Duck having a nightmare about becoming an incompetent brown shirt. Fun fact, by the way, that won the Oscar for Best Animated Short back in 1943. And that's fine when you're talking about something everyone can agree on, like Nazis bad, but over
Yeah,
time,
no,
things
that's
changed,
easy.
and so did the propaganda in the media. Ask any 90s or 2000s kid about the weird ads that the army created to appeal to the most elite extreme gamers.
It is a rite of passage, a challenge to join the elite.
These days, these same recruitment ads look and feel very different.
This is the story of a soldier who operates your nation's Patriot missile defense.
Yeah, no, because people realize that war is fucking scary, terrifying, and most importantly, inhumane in all contexts. The fact that I have to go outside, shoot my other fellow man, and then walk back inside and act as if I am okay? Fuck that. If you can't tell, about a year ago, I was really, really, really fucking poor. Contemplating trying to sign up, and I was like, if I go back, I'm leaving me there, and I'll be coming back as a hollow ass husk. Fuck the war system. Fuck this. I have some easy ass stances when it comes to political beliefs, but yeah.
Systems. It begins in California with a little girl raised by two moms.
It's a pretty stark contrast, right? When you boil it all down, they're still selling the exact same heroism through service message, just with a different coat of paint updated for the times. That's the really explicit, obvious stuff. Ads specifically designed to make you want to sign up for the military. But propaganda in the media, it's often a whole lot more subversive. Ask any 80s kid, and they can tell you all about how G.I. Joe taught them that
Knowing is half the battle.
that right there, it's propaganda. Honestly, when you look at history and break it down, each decade or so has a defining idea that propaganda's been made to push, and it's been very effective. In the 1980s, during the height of the Cold War, a lot
So
of
we're
films
doing
had
only
anti-Soviet
do the
messages
80s,
telling
90s, and
stories about how good and
2000s?
awesome the USA
What about the
capitalism and
2010s?
Reaganomics were. Think films like Red Dawn, Top Gun, War Games, Rocky IV.
Has the fight date been set yet? December 25th.
Where?
It's in Russia.
In the 90s, deep into the war on drugs, the government literally paid millions for primetime TV series to do very special episodes warning about the dangers of illegal substances. Home Improvement, Seventh Heaven, ER, Beverly Hills 90210, even Buffy the Vampire Slayer all had these propaganda episodes, brought to you and paid for by the US government.
While I never thought of myself as the type of father who'd have to drug test his kids, I'm willing to do just that if that's what it takes to find out who brought a joint into this house.
What?
A single fucking joint. Y'all tripping? Like, what the fuck? Yo, like, sorry, why the hell did I say y'all? Like, I'm a southerner. You all are tripping.
Beer.
I can't believe you said something that beer. I didn't know it was evil. You knew it was beer.
In the 2000s and 2010s, after 9/11, movies started embracing a more pro-America, pro-military slant. Recent example, the very first Captain Marvel. Back when this first came out, more than a few people felt that putting so much focus on Carol Danvers' origin story as a sort of girl power Top Gun pushed the movie basically into being a recruiting pitch for the US Air Force, which sounds like a pretty extreme take until you realize that the movie was straight up officially endorsed by the actual US Air Force.
Oh my
This is
god,
hardly
that's
the only movie
fucking.
to have this sort of distinction. See, just like any author or corporation or whatever owns the things that they
I was gonna say, like,
create,
that
they
sounds
use
pretty
US
there, but
military stuff, their official
if the
locations,
military
authentic
says,
uniforms,
give it to
specific
us,
vehicles and
we want
weapons, even
promotion.
certain colors of paint, you have to get permission to use them. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Even colors of paint. If you want to play with their toys, the Pentagon's gonna get a say in how they're depicted in the film. And if they say no, if they don't like something that you're doing and you refuse to change it, well, you'll either have to do a rewrite to fit with their demands, or you can change what appears on screen so it isn't official. You can actually see a perfect example of this with Independence Day. That one infamously didn't get a seal of approval from the US Army, allegedly because officials weren't big fans of the film's plot points involving cover-ups, Area 51, and general incompetence of the military. In contrast, you know what alien invasion film franchise had no trouble getting the Pentagon's backing? The first 3 Transformers films. Likely because producer-director Michael Bay cultivated a strong relationship with the Department of Defense across his filmography. As a result, Bay's first Transformers films are full of official uniforms, locations, and equipment. But wouldn't you know it, the Transformers series stopped getting full Pentagon approval in its 4th and 5th installments.
When they
Coincidentally,
stopped,
when Chinese producers started picking up the tab. Strange coincidence, right? Speaking of that, though we've been focused mostly on pro-America propaganda at this point, this sort of thing is universal. It's happening from every country in
Yeah, they are full of propaganda. We're watching the film theory video on propaganda, actually, Haven.
every way possible. For instance, in the 2010s, the one thing that to as a big theme for that decade, making China look as good as possible. See, in the 2010s, the Chinese market became more welcoming for Western films, and there was a lot of money to be had there. Avatar
And then
made
Disney
over
somehow fumbled the
$200
bag
million
with
in China.
Mulan,
Aquaman
which is
made
funny as
almost
fuck.
300 million. Furious 7 made almost 400. You get the idea. But in order to get screened in China, you needed to
Because if
get
I'm
the
correct,
government's
wasn't
approval. And
Mulan,
so,
like,
while they weren't explicitly
was Mulan
mandating
the one that
propaganda,
got
there
really
was
good
a
in China when it was
filter and strong
animated, but
financial
the
incentive for movie
live
studios
action
to have a
just
pro-China slant.
stumbled
And so,
with
to
it,
get that
another
approval to
Disney
screen in the
bullshit.
country, Hollywood movie studios began adding content that was very flattering of China throughout their films. For instance, those Transformer films, they made the Chinese military look very competent in the fight against the Decepticons. The Martian, who comes in and saves the day? China. But the most extreme example involving this has to be with Iron Man 3. I'm not exaggerating when I say that Iron Man 3 was almost a completely different movie in China. Co-produced by Chinese entertainment firm DMG Entertainment. Tons of additional scenes were filmed for the Chinese release, and 2 giant Chinese movie stars were hired to play important secondary roles. One of them was even the surgeon that got the arc reactor removed from Tony Stark's heart. But the most concerning bit of all of this to me, Iron Man 3 was propaganda to get people to drink milk. Yes, really. Back in 2008, there was a bit of a scandal in the Chinese milk industry, where a significant portion of
Let me put it like this, Del. A woman who was originally born in China and moved to Canada created a YouTube channel entirely just critique and say how bad the live-action Mulan movie was. She actually saw that in the review. Yeah, no, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, it is. Oh, there's a little bottle. Okay, what the fuck's going on?
baby formula in the country was found to be contaminated with a chemical
Oh shit,
called
we just
melamine.
got to this. Haven, you are a godsend.
This resulted in an estimated 300,000 babies falling ill, and
Oh,
an understandable
shit.
concern amongst Chinese citizens about drinking milk products. By 2013, the Chinese government was looking to revitalize the struggling industry after the scandal, and their solution? Letting everyone know that Chinese milk was Iron Man's choice of drink. Yeah, the Chinese version of Iron Man 3 starts with a title card that literally says this. It's wild stuff. So, having now walked you through decade by decade the use of propaganda in films and TV, let's just ask the question, what's the next message that movies are gonna push? What's gonna be propagandized next?
Yeah,
Well, friends, as
AI
found
is
in the top
definitely
of the
getting
episode, it's
propaganda.
all about
Is
AI.
that woman
And the
is
proof
also
is
an author?
unfolding right in front of our
Actually,
faces
suggest you
as
show
we
me.
speak.
Oh,
And I want
yeah.
you to think back
Fuck
over
yeah.
the past 10,
I'd look into
20, 30 years or so. Think about all the movies where AI has not been the good guy. In fact, a ton of movies use AI and the fear of soulless machines as the explicit bad guy. The Matrix trilogy, the Terminator franchise, Tron Legacy, Age of Ultron. All
Tron
of them
Legacy is
featured
GOAT.
AI-driven
I'll
robots
be
and
honest with
programs
y'all.
with a drive to replace or destroy humanity as the villain of their plots. Even smaller movies like Her or Ex Machina, they featured AI and robotics in an antagonistic role, even if they weren't the outright maniacal monsters that are wanting to destroy all humans. And yet, over the past 3 to 4 years, since around 2020, we've seen almost a complete about-face. Think about The Matrix 4, which sees humans cohabitating with the robots that
There's a
once used to seek
fucking
their destruction.
fourth Matrix movie? Why? Wait, the fuck? There's a fourth? Hmm. The first Matrix movie was actually an allegory for being trans. Yes, it was. I've heard that actually before. The siblings that made the movie came out and actually said it. Nice.
And where one of the main characters is basically a digital AI good guy copy of Morpheus.
It gives programs access to this world.
Morpheus. Thank you.
Disney's actually been a big proponent of working these sorts of messages into their movies lately. You might not have noticed it, but 2 of their big films released last year had pro-AI messaging baked in as major plot points. The first one comes from everyone's favorite punching bag, The Marvels. Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've basically just stopped dealing with Disney after their bullshit. I'm just like, Disney's too much for me right now. They don't need my money, they don't need my time.
Did you notice this one? No, of course you didn't. No one went to see this thing, but the point still stands. The reason all the Kree bad guys hate Captain Marvel this time around is that she went to their home world and destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, an AI system running the entire Kree civilization. And wouldn't you know it, but this ends up being a terrible idea. Without an AI in charge of everything, the Kree's planet falls into ruin. Civil war breaks out, rendering the planet without air, water, even sunlight. All because the mean
Fucking
human
hell.
acts too hastily, doesn't think her actions through, and destroys the benevolent AI overlord controlling everything. Now,
First off, it's on you if you decide to put all your fucking technology in one damn building. Second off, it's on you for deciding to have that one AI who controls everything run your fucking air? The fuck? Shit, at that point you were waiting for someone to just snap you in two. If all I have to do to kill you is hit one spot. Like, that's so stupid.
that was a pretty small blinkety-miss-it moment in this movie. But the other big Disney release that was a lot less subtle about its stance on
Putting all your
defense
eggs in
AI,
one
The
basket.
Creator.
Yeah.
You probably know about this one, but it was a smaller project from the director of Rogue One.
Like, what the fuck?
Searchlight Pictures. If you, like almost everyone else, missed this one, I definitely recommend that you give it a watch. The production design, artwork, special effects, they blow pretty much everything else Hollywood made recently out of the water. And all of it was done on an $80 million budget. It is a very well done film, and I really connected with the story about fatherhood and finding humanity in others, no matter who they are, which is great, except the thing that I'm connecting with as a father is AI, little robot kid. Someone called Gregory. The actual plot of the creator involves a near future Earth where humans and sentient robots share the planet. However, this has resulted in several armed conflicts and a war between the human-led Western nations and the peoples of New Asia that have embraced AI.
Yeah, no, Haven, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know at least one good thing about me. If I was in that meeting room whenever they decided to build this system, I'd look at them and be like, "Hey, yo, why are we doing this? Like, is this not our home planet? Like, what's wrong with us? Why are we doing this here? Like, nobody gotta have an issue with this." Like, I could see maybe if like one city or a home is built on this system, right? Or like maybe even a city, right? So it's like, okay, your city is perfect, it runs on everything. But the entire planet?
The main character here is an American soldier sent to destroy a new weapon developed by the AI. This turns out to be just an innocent little robot kid. Naturally, the human ends up changing sides, and he discovers that all the AI are actually super chill. They only want peace and harmony. That the humans were actually the bad guys all along. In fact, the only bad AI and robots that we see in the film are the ones that were explicitly controlled by the humans. In short, it's making AI friendly and relatable. It's saying
I
that
just
the
remember
AI and
something
humans
really
have
messed up
more in
about
common than we don't.
2021
Get
movie.
this, the movie
Oh,
even
what
has a
is
big
it?
plot
Tell
point
me.
about donating your physical appearance to corporations, being scanned so your likeness can be reused by AI. It's framed as this act of great moral generosity, helping the poorer robot citizens, and it eventually pays off by letting the main hero get a big cathartic moment that would have been impossible without the face copying technique. Does that remind you of anything? Like, say, maybe those episodes where we talked about Disney and their army of deepfakes they've been amassing over the past couple years?
Fuck
It's
that.
not just the House of Mouse either. Recent series coming
This is one of the reasons why I refuse to use my face. You could probably replicate my voice very easily with the amount of videos that I've made, but facially, at least, I haven't taken a picture of myself in the past 9 years. Yeah.
from Netflix have also featured this theme. Case in point, this line from The Fall of the House of Usher.
An AI approximation, a virtual you.
Oh
that
yeah,
thinks like you, talks like you.
I know what you're talking about, Haven.
That's so cool. It is
Camps.
cool.
A completely random plot point just shoved in there because AI, and AI is good, and Netflix wants you to like
Even especially
AI.
the Chinese
Now,
people
this
in the
isn't the
zone.
first media to ever feature friendly
Yeah.
robots. The creator isn't too far off
Chinese
from
people,
iRobot 20 years
it
ago,
has been
and
Muslim
shows
for a
as old
long
as Lost in
time.
Space and Astro Boy have
Yeah.
featured good guy robots in the 60s
I know
and
the
70s.
gist of
But
it.
the difference now is that these are no longer sci-fi concepts, far off ideas that you don't actually need to think about.
I remembered watching the OG Astro Boy, and back then I wouldn't have even thought about it as an allegory for AI. I would have thought that as a race war, because that's effectively what it was. The fucking robos versus humans.
About because they could never happen. These are issues that are very quickly becoming hot button topics in our modern society. And I don't just mean AI synthesizing art or ChatGPT writing essays. These are robots in everything from the workplace to the battlefield. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today. The whole point of this little history lesson about the use of propaganda and what it's pushed in the past is to tell you, loyal theorists, that this is happening again, unfolding in front of our very eyes in real time with these AI programs. Disney and others have an incentive to get you to like AI. It has the potential to save them a lot of money. I mean, content released by Disney right now, just this last year, has been using AI, even if you didn't realize.
What do you mean? Also, we are not that damn close to making AI. What do you mean, not that close to making AI? Currently, what we are producing is society's correct programs that seems like AI. Yeah, as I said earlier, it's not generative. It does not create. It is regurgitative. It eats, swallows, chews that shit up, and then it gives it back.
It. The Disney Plus original Prom Pack used AI-generated extras for background scenes. Secret Invasion was heavily criticized for the use of AI-generated imagery in its opening credits. Loki was accused of using AI-generated assets in its posters. Their social media accounts were accused of releasing AI-generated images to celebrate Thanksgiving. Even Wish was criticized for being so by the numbers and boring that they just felt like it had to have been written using AI. But the big...
Oh, that one's not confirmed? I legit just took it as a face value because when I was told the plot of Wish, I went, okay, what the fuck? And when I was seeing like little clips of it, I'm like, this isn't real. Who wrote this?
Big twist of all this, at the end of the day, this push for acceptance of these sorts of generative AI tools from these major corporations might be inevitable. Disney and all the other companies like them are being patient, and they're willing to play as long of a game as they need to if it means that they're gonna end up making money in the long run. I mean, if you want an example that's directly linked to this one, just look at that deepfake technology that Disney's been playing with. When they first decided to resurrect actors like Carrie Fisher and Peter Cushing in Rogue One using deepfakes and CGI, they were widely criticized for the move, and the results were called distracting, unnerving, unsettling. But it was a first step, them dipping their toe in the water. Later, when they decided...
Yeah, because I imagine it's like, well, we can't... They're necessary for the role in the story. We kind of have them there, but they're not alive, so we're just bringing them back for a little bit. Secretly, you're just practicing so that when you have someone who doesn't want to work for you, you can just be like, hey, yo, you, body double, walk out there. We're now going to take you over here, and we're going to put their face on you, and we're going to give you their voice. You don't have to do anything. Or they don't even have to use a body double. They could just use the likeness of your face, your voice, and give you some clothes on a 3D model. Fuck that.
Decided to bring Luke Skywalker back in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett using AI-driven deepfake tech, though people didn't really care for it. The reaction wasn't nearly as negative, and the technology improved. And then just last year, the deepfake technology used to de-age Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny, it was so good that some reviews said, quote, "If I hadn't known it was deepfake, I'd have been none the wiser." Despite initial
Yeah,
pushback from the
nah,
public, the
fuck
more
that.
and more Disney's used these deepfakes, and the better the technology's gotten, the more and more people have just accepted it. By using the AI technology now in posters and credit sequences and in the background, Disney and other corporations like them are slowly exposing the public to more and more of the stuff. And like a frog in boiling water, eventually it'll overtake you without noticing. I mean, it's already happening. Despite the recent Hollywood actors and writers strikes, just a couple weeks ago, the Screen Actors Guild signed a deal that would allow game developers to use AI-generated voices, much to the
I'm gonna tell you this right here, right now. That's bullshit, and this shouldn't actually be a thing. I'm sorry, there's no way in the world that this should be allowed.
disappointment of the voice actors that SAG represents. At the end of the day, though this use of technology may seem inevitable, you don't have to be fooled by the propaganda pushing that issue, or honestly, any other issue. You can remain aware of the tactics that all these people are using to get you accustomed to the changes that they.
So, as much as I like what Matt had to say, the little part in the back of my brain is screaming out. If he reveals at the end of this that this entire time that this was me listening to an AI, I'm going to fucking flip out because I don't want that to be a thing. It's like, Matt Pat's done doing this. You'll just be hearing the AI dub over me.
Want. You can remain aware of the propaganda in what you watch, remain critical of it, and then form your own opinions free of what anyone wants you to think. And as the world changes fast and this AI technology rapidly develops, arming yourself with knowledge is the most valuable thing that you can do. As another piece of propaganda said nearly 40 years ago,
And knowing is half the battle.
but hey,
Fucking
that's
hell.
just a theory. A film theory. And
cut.
And hey, if you do want to learn more about that army of deepfakes that Disney's been amassing, those 2 videos are on screen right now. It's not the most exciting of topics that we've ever covered, but it is one of the more important ones that we've done in recent history. Click those videos that you see on screen right now, and as always, my friends, I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Anyways, by the way, people who are watching this, I'm going to tell you the parts that are really easy. Number 1, go into the description. You're going to enjoy it. What I mean by that is go into the description, click on one of those links. It's really easy, and it just says like original video, because that's leading you towards the original video. That way you can go and watch the original, right? You should have watched it before you even got to my video, but you know, maybe you showed up, saw mine, and then you went over later. Cool. Just go over there and watch it. Besides that, I have my other bullshit that I can say to you, like a like for, you know, enjoying the video and what I had to say. Comment because you have literally anything to say. Subscribe because you think that I'm somebody who's worthy of your subscription. And somebody you want to come back around and support. Preferably both of those things. But last thing I have to say, well, actually, it's not the last thing. We'll get to that in a moment. Instead, we're going to talk about the topic of this streaming session. Let me look at the thing to make sure I read it off correctly. So, when did you decide you wanted more, and what? AKA, when did you decide you wanted more from, say, life, more bread rolls, whatever it was? When did you decide you were not satisfied, and what were you not satisfied with? That's a question for this streaming session. So please tell me in the comment section if you decide to. Now we can talk about the last thing on my list of things to say today. If you want to, the link in the description. You can support through, well, looking at all my other socials. It's in the link tree, you know. I also have the yeah, it's a link tree. Support all my other socials. One of them is my Fiverr if you want to commission me for 3D art. And besides that, I'm pretty much chilling. So please have a lovely day. Goodbye.